Everyone, I'm Roshni Goyate. I'm a poet with the collective For Brown Girls Who Write. And today I'm going to be reading you a poem called Coconut Oil, which shows up in this pamphlet of mine, Shadow Work, which belongs in a collection, which is by the collective that I'm part of, For Brown Girls Who Write. Just going to jump right in and read the poem. Coconut oil. Vatica bottle sits in the bathroom. Contents solidified by London's night. Mum microwaves it to a clear sap, an ancestral ritual improvised. She sits me down, braids unplaited, drags plastic comb through my hair. Ouch, mummy, not too hard. Pretends my squeaks are not there. Drip, drip onto my invisible scalp. Grip at the palms of her hand. Rub, 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 taming flyaways. Slap, slip onto the slick dark of strands. A soft scent, sweet and buttery, slippery, tinged with metallic sweat of my brow, provokes questions in the playground. Why do you smell so funny? How? The powder red shame of coconut oil spray paints itself onto my skin. I delete it from life like a bad line of code. No chance of it coming back in. When suddenly, this hair oil that gave me such grief comes back for well-being's bright new age. No longer smelling funny, a great white commodity marked up for organic food shops. All the rage. So I just wanted to share a bit of a kind of discussion or background or just a little bit about my process with writing that poem. I mean, one of the key things in this poem is the anger. The last line is all the rage. There's a lot of kind of simmering anger throughout that poem, which is about the everyday things that we use, or definitely the everyday things that I grew up using, things like coconut oil, turmeric. I'm Indian, and I grew up in an Indian household, so things like yoga, various other sort of ancient Indian traditions, Ayurveda, things that were everyday part of my life have today been co-opted and appropriated, and in our sort of late capitalist society. I'm very concerned with this in all of my work, but with the poem with coconut oil, I just find that the ones who are getting rich, the ones who are making profit, and the ones who are seen as cool are not the ones who look like me, who come from the parts of the world that I come from. People like me who are like outcast, as I've kind of shared in that poem, for having these things as part of my life. So that rage, that kind of simmering anger, it carries through as a thread through quite a lot of my work, actually. And like I said, the poem appears in my pamphlet called Shadow Work. And I just wanted to read actually what I've written on the back of the pamphlet about shadow work. So it says, we all have shadow selves, the sides to us that are hidden, unknown, unconscious. These are parts of ourselves that we learn at a very early age to turn away from. Shadow Work is a poetry collection that seeks to discern what's in the shadows, to uncover what is silenced. It explores the contradictions of living multiple lives as a woman of color, a lover, a mother, and a poet in the 21st century. So with that in mind, it really, again, when I'm thinking about where did this poem come from? Growing up as part of an immigrant family, I was constantly being told, as a brown girl, constantly being told who I am, who I must be, who I should not be, who I absolutely cannot be, rather than ever being given the space to just be me. And I say that not with judgment. I think it's important to say my Indian parents, who raised me culturally and religiously Hindu, they were just, they were using the tools that they had at their disposal, and they were working really hard to make sure that while living in a country that was not their own country, they were still able to instill the values and the culture, the heritage. And I think diasporic families and diasporic communities often find that it comes down on you tenfold because of that, because there's all these outside forces trying to like contaminate that. So it comes down on you even harder. And yet by the time I was a teenager, like I rejected it all. I was just so done with it. I was having fights with my dad. It was, again, just teenage life, the rebelliousness kicked in, and I just I saw what was out in the outside world, and I wanted more of that. And so most of my 20s as well, I just spent rejecting my upbringing. So I just rejected religion, denied my love of Bollywood. I know I've reconnected with that since then, but I hated Indian cooking, and again, now I love it. So that was that one side, that was my home self kind of trying to break free of that. And at the same time, in the outside world, so school, university, the workplace, society as a whole, I was being told by those spaces as well who I should be, through stereotyping, through assumptions, expectations, microaggressions, racism, all those things, sexism. So while trying to navigate these two worlds at the same time, I never felt like I fit in. And I actually feel like adulthood for me has been a process of unpeeling all of these layers that have been like co-produced, co-created by these seemingly like paradoxical forces, while also being mixed in with my own ideas of who I am or who I want to be. So in a way, like poetry has always been my own secret place to do that exploration and that experimenting, and a place to just say all the things I probably would never dare to say to a person face to face, and that rage. And I should say, actually, coconut oil in particular came to me at a time in my life where I had just become a new mum. And for me, getting pregnant, childbirth, becoming a new mum was a real opportunity, and there was a real like intention from me to reach back into my past and to remember the rituals that made up my childhood, the rituals that actually, as described in that poem, the rituals I had suppressed and that I had forgotten about, because once I was pregnant, I realized that there's so much wisdom, generations worth of wisdom, ancient wisdom in my Indian heritage, that I absolutely knew when I wanted to be part of my pregnancy, part of my childbirth experience and my mothering experience, as much as all the other things that, that are brought about in the Western world as well. So, okay, so this is a writing prompt. I just absolutely love it. It's called Where Are You From? So, I mean, that line, where are you from, by now, if anyone here is not familiar with it, like, I mean, I can speak on it from my like immigrant experience. The question, where are you from, is so loaded, even if it's meant in the most well-intentioned and curious way. So having been born in the UK, having grown up in the UK, having known no other home ever other than London, I still get asked, where are you from? And my answer is always Wembley, which is part of northwest London, where the football stadium is. But, people then go, oh, where are you really from? And I'm just like, oh, I'm from here, I'm from Ends. Like, I've got a British passport, what's your problem? So anyway, the question, where are you from, is just one of those thorns in the sides of people who are racially minoritized all the time. But I decided to flip it on its head with this writing prompt. And so while usually my response, the intention behind the question, where are you from, is usually like, what country are you from? But I want to just use that question to explore where you're actually from in a poetic way instead. So the prompt is really simple. All you have to do is free write. It's a kind of free writing exercise, and just start every sentence with I am from. But rather than just saying I am from and then a place name, Give me a lovely, beautiful description of the people, the smells, the sights, the sounds, the sensations, the colors, all of the music, you know, the movies that made you. That's really what you want to be getting at. I've got some examples, so I'm going to share them right now to really give you an idea. But yeah, the main kind of rule of thumb of this exercise is every sentence must start, I am from. So here's mine. I am from Wembley, where all the worlds meet, and at 6 p.m. my street smells of spices. I am from hip hop, soul, music, jazz, classical, saxophone, disco, Bollywood, bebop, folk, samba. I am from Dhanu and Roshni Goyate, that unlikely pairing of strictly Swaminarayan, meat-free, booze-free, and the other side, Sai Baba, lamb curry lover, whiskey every night. I am from Amravati, a town that was jungle and sparse only 25 years ago and is now shopping malls and highways. I am from a world with limited resources where corporations have tricked themselves into believing it's okay to continue pummeling the land for profit, and I'm so done with it. I am from Samba, a celebration of color and sound and life, but run by drug money and gangs, homophobia and misogyny. I am from 3 siblings who often talk about life, love, being the children of such an unlikely couple, a secret eater, a booze dependent. I'm from London, that beast of a city, and I'm a city girl, and that's okay. So that's my example. I think the best way to run this exercise or this prompt is to just give yourself 5 minutes, no longer, and just start every sentence with I am from. Don't overthink it, but just keep moving. Right, the more sentences you write, the better, basically. And that's it.